to the Library of Congress and wanted to find out some of the works that had been written by Nigerians. And the curator there brought out huge volumes, huge lists that I would not have had time to go through. The scholarship was indeed extremely impressive. Back home in Nigeria, efforts to harness the country's prodigious natural resources have not been matched by successful attempts to utilize her well-trained human resources, which have emigrated to the four corners of the world. That is, not until now. Under the imaginative leadership of Governor Udoaganu, the D3 project has been launched, the Delta Diaspora Direct Initiative. You will hear more about it in the next 2 days. That his call has been heeded is testified to by the presence in this hall of some of the best and brightest of the 1 million Deltas in the diaspora. The governor has taken more initiative in rallying the indigents of his state, wherever in the world they may have migrated, to the cause of development than have any of his gubernatorial colleagues. It is analogous to what nations have done to bring their best home to the service of their homeland. You know, I come from Boston, where our largest ethnic group, the Irish, have always proudly rallied to the support of their motherland during its times of trouble. We just buried our great Senator Ted Kennedy, who, although his rich and famous family had been in this country for over a century, nevertheless always heeded the call of the homeland of his forebears. He was always involved and tried to get others involved in what was going on back in Ireland. What would Israel be without the talents and treasures of the Jewish diaspora? I know of few, if any, ethnic groups in this diverse country of mine who, despite their fierce loyalty to America, would not respond to calls of humanitarian assistance from the land of national origin of their forebears. It is for me a personal pleasure to be here, for might I not be your in-law once removed? After all, my beloved wife Arase, a descendant of Benin's royal family, shared common citizenship with you in the old Bendel state. How I envy you who know the village of your fathers. We Black Americans are unique in this land. The overwhelming majority of us know not the village, nor ethnicity, nor region of our ancestors. So we identify more with a whole continent than with any individual country. Unless, of course, we are as fortunate as I to marry into the culture of one of the great countries around. We convene at a crucial time in the Niger Delta. The current crisis, whose origins can be traced back to the failings of a federal system to deal with the marginalization which so many citizens of the oil-producing region feel. The roots of Nigeria's crisis mirror conflicts in other parts of Africa. Nation-states formed by artificial boundaries drawn in Berlin in the late 19th century inherited the challenge of forging a unified country out of many ethnic groups, often competing with one another over scarce resources. Here in the United States, we have a motto which is stamped on our currency, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. A significant number of the Nigerian Constitutional Drafting Committee in the 1970s were graduates of American universities. They helped to produce a document enshrining a federal presidential system much like that of the United States. Nigeria, of course, had come to independence under a federated system, but one of the dire consequences of a series of military coups was the withering away of the federal system. The army imposed upon the land the kind of unified command system military men have lived under since the dawn of time. Although Nigeria grew from 3 large regions at independence to 36 states, those states today have less power and autonomy than had the regions they were carved out of. The long spate of military rule left a legacy of a powerful central government orbited by states that are weaker than it. As powerful as the American national government appears to be, our states boast powers that those in Nigeria can only envy. Of particular interest to this gathering is the relationship of our oil-producing states to the national government. The derivation argument, which has gone on for so long in Nigeria, is alien to us. Oil, unless it is drilled from wells located on federally owned land, is not the property of the federal government. Some of our most popular TV series, such as the Beverly Hillbillies, celebrate the rise from rags to riches of poor people who, while drilling for water in their backyard, discovered oil. And that oil belonged to them and not to the government. The national and state government's share of oil revenue is limited to the taxes they can levy. States in the United States, in this country, have benefited from the oil boom in ways our central government has not. The Congress has prohibited oil drilling on most federal lands. State legislatures, on the other hand, have been less restrictive about the lands their local governments own. As a result, oil has been a major lubricant in turning around the fortunes of once desperately poor states like Texas and Oklahoma. Houston, Texas, probably has the largest population of Nigerians of any city in the United States. Many of them came from states like the Delta to study the oil industry. Unfortunately, too few have returned home. I would suggest that in addition to engineering students, you should send some social science majors to learn how you may emulate the economic development which our oil-producing regions have achieved. Texas has been able to finance one of the best state university systems in the United States. Its hospitals are world-class.